Okay, so this is us returning to our D&D game after an 8-week break. We are up to session number 115 for this group, and it is Phase 3, Season 2, Episode 8. They're up to the 22nd of the 4th month, 1011. They are 12th level, and they are currently in Redleb Woods, about to march on a ruined keep to see what they can discover in association with the Ashen King. Online today, we have Martin.
Oh, g'day. So I started out as a halfling, but then I used my wish to transfer into a wood elf and become a monk. And there's lots of backstory to that. But sufficient to say, yes, I'm now a wood elf monk with the path of the Kenzai. I retrospectively changed my background to say I was wild and undisciplined as a youngster. And then I realised the error of my ways. I applied to a monastery in the Feywild and became a monk as a way to live a life of discipline. So the major events of my is tragedy. So my mother died during childbirth. My father is unknown, and as a result of being an orphan,
Though you did get to see your father in one of the storylines, except that you were an elf now and he was still a halfling.
That's right. Yeah.
So unresolved plots can still resolve even if you can no longer do them.
Okay. And then I'll pass it on to the next person.
Okay, so I don't think Jeremy's back yet. So we will go over to Sean. Why don't you introduce yourself and your character?
Hi, I'm Sean. Haven't thought much about my character's backstory because I only made them about 2 days ago. But they are their name is Genrick, and they are a high elf druid. And I gave them the urchin background, which I believe means they grew up on the streets.
I've got that too.
Yeah. They grew up on the streets. Fire was the only thing that kept him warm at night, along with the animals. Probably played a bit into how he turned out today.
So how many houses did you set fire to keep yourself warm?
Legally, he's going to tell you 0. The actual answer is probably a bit higher than that.
So the characters are currently trying to gain allies in a war that's happening in the nation of Darrakan. Most of them have set Darrakan as their home, though most of this group has set Karamikos as their home.
I've Darrakan as my home, so that's fine.
Well, as the halfling, it was your home, but you set Karamikos as your home for your elven heritage.
Oh, yeah, there is that. But Alfheim was my sort of mixture of the two. Alfheim, yeah, but whatever.
Yes. Luckily you didn't pick Alfheim because currently that nation is going through a lot of turmoil. They have a quester trying to become a god, trying to enter their boundaries and touch one of the relics. If the quester does manage to touch one of the relics, then all the elves in the world die and he becomes a god.
Oh no.
So no pressure on elves there whatsoever.
And we should have picked a human.
And so in the process of trying to protect their relics, they pulled out of the war. So they stopped helping defend the borders. And so the borders fell. The Master has taken almost half of Darrakan. And at this state, you're in the second month of spring, and no plants have flowered at all in spring or started regrowth. And as Darrakan is the breadbasket of the region, that means that a majority of the food needed to sustain the region has not grown this year. They are also working for a guy by the name of Redrian. He has a organization known as Redrian's Investigation Bureau, and he sends out parties to go off and investigate what is happening in the world, so he can try to save it, as he puts it, because he's a merchant prince, and if you can't trade with people because they're dead, that makes it very hard to make money in that sense. So he has hired on each of the Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday groups, and they're all off doing different things. At the moment, the Wednesday group had just helped Karamikos sign a treaty with a empire known as Alphatia, and in doing so they had succeeded from the Duchy of Karamikos from the Empire of Thyadus. Lots of names being thrown in here, and with that they can now help Darrakan in the war against the Master. So they're looking to start mobilizing troops. With part of that, there was a disturbance near Dimitri, which is Jeremy's character's estate, with someone, what was he known as? The Ashen King, that was what he was known as, who had been kicked out of the Black Eagle Barony, and they managed to track him to the edges of Dimitri's estate, where he slipped off into a bunch of ruins, and the party had decided to stop at the estate before marching in, which would be where all the characters would be meeting up. So the druid would most likely have been sent along by the king of the elves of Kalari to help keep whatever menace the Ashen King is away from the rest of the people.
Okay.
Which means you would also have heard of Trellin from the community of people who preach his words.
Yes.
Not that the words are preach-worthy, but they have dedicated themselves to writing down everything he says and repeating it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think there's much worth listening to, but whatever.
But they have turned it into almost a religion in itself. And I'm sure that Trellin is part pleased, part annoyed by the fact that they will repeat absolutely anything he says.
No. Whatever.
Well, hey, you have a group of people who think so highly of you, they want to be you.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
So with that, we have Generic and Trellin meeting up.
It's characters to see generic, you
Yeah, well, they sometimes throw letters in, so
mispronounces a lot of names, so just bear with it.
Okay.
I don't do it on purpose. But the more complicated a name is, the more likely it will go wrong.
Yeah. And there's a consistent character called Drazzle that sort of lurks in the background, but he's an NPC.
I see.
He can heal, but the most he normally does is write down what you've done and said.
Yep.
And sometimes rewind time when you get things wrong.
Yes.
So, he does have a few things he's happy to give out. He's happy to give our druid a set of mithril armor.
Well, normally I don't bother because I've got +6 for dexterity and +5 for wisdom, and that's enough for me because it's the dexterity and the wisdom that govern my armor class.
Actually referring to the druid who's not got any items yet.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just walking around naked.
Well, you'd have starting gear.
Yeah.
Even though you're 12th level, you don't get the bringing in a whole bunch of items that are just selected from the book. You get to use items that are already in the game and then get added to the lore of the items.
Okay. And what type of armor was it?
It is mithril armor.
Okay.
So does that count as metal?
Yes and no. Most of the druid stuff doesn't worry as much about metal in this edition.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the wording of it is that druids tend to not wear metal, but they still can.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy.
So, Jeremy, would you like to introduce your character?
No. Yes, I'm playing Dimitros. He, well-known, again, local, specifically where we are right now, because we're in Dimitrios's domain. Having been named and become a member of the nobility of Karamikos due to great service and guidance provided to all those around him, including obviously King Stefan Karamikos. Although he did start as a humble peasant soul and maintains that humility well.
Yes. Oh, so humble. Okay, so I just gave them the update of where they were up to.
Yep.
And I was just going to give our new druid some extra gear.
Absolutely.
So the mithril armor is called leaf scale armor,
Okay.
and
Right.
It is basically designed to work for druids.
Or for druid tribesmen that don't use metal.
Even though it's mithril.
Well, technically, the leaf scale that Dracnium are no longer using.
That is true.
If the druid was concerned about mithril metal.
Then there is the elven boots, boots of elven kind, known as the champion leaf boots.
Which probably would combine with the leaf mail to as a single student slot item, particularly for elf.
Okay. Well, you've also been given a dagger known as Bradshaw's friend. It's magic.
That's just a dagger that does magic.
It's a dagger that counts as magic for the purposes of doing damage.
Okay.
Especially when you use it against Bradshaw.
So Bradshaw is one of the players in the game who gave a prophecy that he would be killed by a friend by stabbing them in the back of his head.
I'll keep that in mind.
And he's a dwarf, so in that sense it wouldn't be out of character. Okay. Just looking for everything else that may be referenceable. Okay, so there is a cloak of protection, which would be handy for you.
Yeah.
Always useful to have these sort of things. So you could swap that out for the Elvenkind cloak instead, if you prefer a cloak of Elvenkind.
Look at what that one does.
Well, cloak of Elvenkind gives you bonuses for being stealthy, whereas the other one just gives you bonuses against being attacked.
But again, the advantage of the cloak of Elvenkind is that you'd be able to attune it with your boots and only using a single slot. Which is probably like with the number of extra items coming at the moment, it's probably not that big of a concern.
I'm just trying to give him some starting gear to go with.
Absolutely, that kind of thing. The cloak protection is probably more useful and valuable immediately, particularly if you're not the roguey, the stealthy type.
Well, he's a druid, so druids aren't necessarily going to be in the front of combat, and when they normally are, they're normally shape changed in general.
Yeah. So, so you've technically only got 5 spots at the moment to attune items. So being able to combine items into a single slot is certainly advantageous when you start getting 5 items.
Yeah. I've put them all into a thing, and according to the summon, cloak protection needs attunement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Martin has the aspect of all items can get them, they get better use out of it if you attune them.
But you don't have to attune them. You can still use any item without attunement. So every item has a base value, an attuned value, and then it can then be combined with other items to give it more. So how all that works is still being added to the site. So it's not all accessible to players at this stage.
Okay.
So yes, that should be enough stuff to get you going to begin with anyway.
Yep.
They were basically given a big bunch of things that they could try to achieve in this storyline. So there is quite a lot of information there for someone to actually go through and try to figure out what they're doing. But with that, they have planned to travel to a keep nearby. I think I can bring that up.
Hopefully, Kevin is a water-based druid.
I'm sure that whichever druid you are will be just perfectly fine for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just because we're coming up against a fire, it's like, it was kind of, oh, you know.
I definitely am not an arsonist.
Well, I've got a bunch of fire 3, but maybe you want to get past your first session and then choose something.
Yeah. Everyone has elements associated with them, just that at this stage, not as relevant for new players. So they're in a set of woods known as Radleb Woods, which is the elven kingdom of the Kalari. And Dimitri has been granted an estate inside their kingdom, which, while slightly unusual, I'm sure he talked his way into getting it. Oh, you're not really using that part of the woods, so...
He gained control of an old keep that was in the middle of the woods, and he's claiming the surrounding area.
And so they were going to head off to a place called Korizegi Keep, because, well, that was where the trail from the Ashen King led them.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Dimitri was eventually going to head that way anyway.
Well, that's certainly part of his overall plan, but the immediate plan is following pathway. Because in fact, the magical wind from the elves effectively swept away the remnants, and so that was a case of heading towards Quirky Keep as the closest potential location where they could go to, and so then on the way to Lull if we don't find them in Quirky Keep.
Okay, so
off to the Black Eagle Barony.
Amongst you have Drazzle, which is a dragonborn. Seems to be one of the oldest ones you would have seen, as they've only been noticed in the world for the last 12 years. And he doesn't talk much. But he has a Clydesdale pulling a cart that has dragon motifs on it. and he seems to be ready for Dimitri, who's probably still giving instructions to his central, because he's got his own domain there.
Yep. So yes, basically, but so we'll head off in the morning. It's probably, considering we're only going as far as Creek to keep initially, it's probably not vital to pull up the ritual mount and things like that. You can probably go with fairly normal horses because they're 8 mile hectares, aren't they? Or 12 mile?
They are 8 mile hexes.
Yeah. Apparently, like about 15 mile to get to the keep, so.
Well, you could even walk that if you tried.
So,
it is heavy woods, which means it shouldn't have a lot of underbrush.
and okay, there's the road that's been built to get to the domain between Radlett Keep and his domain, so we get to follow the road for at least half the distance. So we will prepare things in the morning and head off and get underway. Anything special that we'll do before we leave?
No.
Is there anything special Trellin wants to get done before you leave? I'm assuming that's a no from Martin as well.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
We'll head off down the road and at the appropriate point.
Did you hear? Oh,
Well, we heard you that time.
Yeah.
cool.
So at the appropriate point, we will head off towards the northwest and towards Correcty Keep.
Okay.
Noting the fact that Correcty Keep was a ruin at least last time we looked at it, so part of the question will be whether or not there's evidence of building or pain.
Okay, so it takes you probably about half a day to reach there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're reaching the outskirts of Koreski Keep by about midday, as you can see a familiar crest on the side of the ruined keep. Seems that a lot of Dimitri's family crest seems to also be in this crest, even though it looks a lot older.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, hang on, familiar in the sense of, I don't know if there's too many markings or indications of the Ashen being around, but we're talking a slightly different connection to Dimitri's perspective.
Well, Dimitri does have a signet ring with Krozegi's keep on it.
Yep.
So, for your perspective, you may have actually built part of that crest into your own crest.
Absolutely. That's fine.
Because you did find out one of your ancestors lived there.
Yeah.
So don't worry, I'm sure he still lives there.
Well, I've got to say, officially though, no one's lived there in centuries, correct?
Probably closer to 1,000 odd years.
Right. So, and so when you say the crest is visible on the keep, are we talking banners flying, or are we talking stonework?
Stonework.
Okay.
Almost looks as if they're weeping.
Okay. So I guess that means we're getting close enough that are we seeing any evidence of activity or life in the keep?
You do not, but then you can see through parts of the walls, and some of it has collapsed, and there is a big burnt area. But you can see
Recently burnt?
it doesn't look as if it's recently burnt.
Okay.
But there is some trees nearby that have some sort of message carved into them.
Uh-huh. There you go. Well, certainly take a look at those trees. Believe the carving could be a bit more recent.
They look like they happened in probably the last year or two.
Mhm.
And you recognize the name. The name is Zal, which you realize is one of Redrian's other groups.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had heard that they had visited your estate,
Yep.
and you know that was roughly about 6 to 12 months ago.
Okay. Yep. Are there any other messages left behind in the tree other than gratuitous graffiti carved in? I was here.
The message is written on more than one tree, and you've pretty much got to stand at a certain point to be able to read it, at which point you realize it is a circle in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
At which point you also remember that they dealt with an archfey.
Right.
Something about saying how an archfey can't cross the circle right before one of them got shot by an arrow by the archfey.
The statement was accurate. The archfey didn't cross the circle.
Well, hey, magic circles are useful at times.
Yep. So,
And what happened next was they found that Krozegi Keep actually has portals to the Fey Dark. Nice to know that a major portal is right next to your domain.
hey, I mean, we've got the major portal at the top of his tower too that he's still working out. But from the perspective of current events, there's no indication anyone's been here in the last 6 months, at least from the external.
When you get within about 500 feet of the keep, the ground is dead and quite solid, and you notice you can't even leave a mark on there. So if something had been here recently, you wouldn't know.
No. It, I guess, means we've got to get closer to see, to confirm it's not being used to say, well, at least originally, but more importantly, that it's nothing, that they haven't tried to escape to this location. Whatever was left of the Lewis. From what we saw in the window, there didn't appear to be anything physically left of the creatures that we hadn't killed, were there?
There was nothing physically left, no.
Did we also see the Ashen King effectively get blown away as part of that process, or?
You hope you did, but you couldn't confirm it.
Right, yeah. As long as there's apparently nothing moving or nothing to see, we'll certainly keep a look at it as we approach. But I guess keep going forward unless people have got particular objectives.
Okay, so as you walk forward, you feel the strength of the sun sort of wane very quickly. It's still midday, but it doesn't feel as hot as it did while you were in the woods?
Yes, in the nice shady woods.
It was hotter in the woods than it is out in the open on the burnt ground. Would you like to make a survival check?
We can attempt that. Admittedly, in Dimitri's case, he's already thinking, considering whose influence is on this keep, I'm not surprised it feels a bit dank and dark and chilly.
21.
Yes.
How about Sean with his character? Though I will point out, Sean, it says you're currently playing Xbox. Hello, Sean. Well, I guess we're going over to Jeremy.
I got 16.
Okay, so between the two of you, you have been able to determine that wolves have actually passed here in the last day or so. They don't leave a lot of tracks, but they do leave enough markings that you can recognize that they have been here.
Dimitri will mention as we're approaching to Carlin and Henrik that mainly to Carlin on the fact that he's had the experience and knowledge before of dealing with those that Dimitri doesn't necessarily recognise as his ancestor, or tries to avoid recognising his ancestor.
Okay.
If you'll recall, in some of the previous campaigns that we've done, the effectively one of the great vampires of the setting. He has influence and connection to Dimitri's bloodlines.
Okay, so
so the idea of being a bit dank and dark here is apparently religion holds. Might have won't belong to him. So,
Yeah.
probably take me around for years, so we'll find now.
okay, so as you approach, you find that your horses don't really want to go anywhere near the place.
It's all right. I'm going to put.
Yeah, to make sure we to make sure you're happy to tie his horse up at the edge of the forest before we hit across the hard-packed ground that doesn't actually leave any tracks.
And doesn't have,
in the hot weather.
and doesn't seem to have any food for grazing the closer you get to the keep.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think he's happy to go on foot for that last 500 feet or whatever it is.
Drazzle stays with your horses.
Okay.
He just waves you on.
Of course. No, okay, shouldn't be long. Just coming in to check whether or not there's any evidence that the Ashen King has taken up any or paused here at all. I'll go forward. Probably aim to look through one of the areas where the wall's fallen down rather than trying to go through the front gate or things like that. So,
you can see that occasional tracks do seem to lead to the front door.
human style track or the wolf style track?
You've got a bit of both. And as you're looking through the side of the keep, it doesn't look as if anyone's been in this place for quite a long time.
Did we see any evidence of the tracks that were going towards the front gate in the courtyard area?
There is a lot of mud inside the keep, but it doesn't have any footprints in it.
Like muddy inside the keep, but it was hard baked outside.
That is correct.
Sorry,
All good. I was just pointing out to you, Sean, that you seem to have playing Xbox listed as your status on Discord.
Yes, that's good. In my other out of the accounts linked.
Yep. We had someone doing playing World of Warcraft while he was in the middle of a game as well. So.
There's obviously evidence of someone having been here and around, but there was actually the evidence of the Ashen King. We're not certain yet, but it's certainly worth checking out further. So, particular signal to Drackle to say that we're heading in, and might be worth going around and actually having a look at the front gate just to see what kind of factors you get in and see if there's any evidence, any more information about the tracks that have been going through, whether the gate's being used or usable.
Okay, making your way around to the front gate, you see that the front gate is actually in good condition. Solid oaken door with many runes carved into it.
Has it been recently repaired or just extremely durably well made originally?
Looks like it may have been durably well made, as the frame around it is also in good standing. It doesn't look recently repaired. It doesn't look as if it has had a lot of maintenance, but unlike the rest of the keep, it doesn't look like it's fallen into bad times. How much does Dimitri remember of what the other group had told him?
Well, as a player, I know nothing, so I don't remember the other group telling me anything. As a character, well, Dimitri's got an eidetic memory, so...
In which case, then, it would come back to his memory that the front door is a portal to the astral space, where the keep still stands.
Yeah, that's certainly what I expected was going to be the case. Although it sounded like, yes, that the gate was another portal we're looking through.
And the astral space has a further portal to the Fey Dark. And this is one of 5 known exit points for the Vampire Kingdom.
For which, sorry?
For the Vampire Kingdom.
Yeah. Ashen King is using this location or has used it temporarily after being banished from Radland Woods. He's probably more likely to have tried to do it in the physical world. So let's have a look we'll go through the wall first of all and have a look around before going through the portal.
Okay, once you enter it through the collapsed wall, you see that this place looks as if no one's been here in easily over 100 years. There's no sign of any regrowth, there's no sign of any plant life whatsoever, and no remains of any creatures can be seen in there. It's just a thick layer of mud that doesn't seem to have dried, which is unusual considering just outside the keep it is baked so solidly that you have trouble leaving an imprint.
Yeah, that's correct. Look, obviously, yes, the gate might be a portal to the astral realm or something, or some other location, but obviously the inside of the walls is also a slightly different world. So, is there any remnants, like physical remnants of the keep itself, that we can enter and have a quick look around?
Besides the outer wall, the inside is just a shell. There's no real rooms. It's the corners of it seem to be open to the inside of the courtyard, and you can literally see the entire keep at a glance from where you enter.
Yeah.
What you do notice is above the entryway, where it should be, is just a solid wall.
Mm-hmm.
So the doors to the outside don't actually lead into the keep anymore.
Yeah. And possibly ever did.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've had a look around, confirmed that obviously Ashen King hasn't been here in the physical world. Yep. But I'm thinking that it is going to be worth checking to make certain that he didn't manage to escape through the portal to other realms. Looking at coming back outside again, Dimitri will do some prestidigitation to get rid of the mud off his boots and clean up bits and pieces from that. And then
you also notice that when you step onto the dry ground outside, the mud basically just falls off as just dust. All the moisture in it just evaporates. It's like inside the keep, moisture is still there, but outside the keep, there's absolutely no moisture in the ground or surrounding area.
And in fact, it's almost like the inside of the keep draws the moisture from outside to make it even drier outside and water inside.
It does feel a bit like that.
Even so, Dimitri will still use the resting space to get the dust off the feet and the boots and things like that. And come around and have a look at the gate and see if he can confirm or remember from the others who've been, if they have to through the gate or not, that if it's going to require anything special to open the gates, heading to and take us through to the real keep.
Yes, you did get told there was something special to open the portal here. Requires a descendant of the Lord of the Keep.
Well,
What is it?
It is called Krozegi Keep.
Okay. That for me, but whatever. Well, I don't know what that is, but maybe it will have some relevance to someone else.
It will
Well,
have
that's
relevance.
the name of the keep itself for the campaign purposes is not pretty relevant, but yes, that's it. As Dimitri mentioned to you, it's likely that it's being run by an undead fiend of some sort.
Well,
and having
yes,
extended, obviously Dimitri won't actually talk about the fact that it requires an extended open, but he will confidently cast apparent arcane rituals and gestures to attempt to open the door.
Okay, as you push on the door, it just opens inwards.
Yep.
And you see a grand staircase inside in lush red carpeting.
and does flame tongue longsword affect vampires?
I'm sure it does.
If you cut them into small bits,
Okay. They don't heal as immediately. That's fine.
I mean, yeah. Not necessarily the item will take it down for good.
Okay.
Uh,
I've got holy water, so that's fine. Just for the last one.
But hey, we're not coming here for the original occupant of the keep. We're just here to make sure that the keep's not being occupied presently by the Ashen King, who certainly hopefully is not the same thing.
Yeah.
As you enter through it, you do realize you have stepped over a planar boundary, and you are now in the astral world.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any issues with any equipment or magical items we were carrying?
It does mean that if any of you had portable holes or any other extra-dimensional items, they did not enter with you.
No, that's fine, but it does mean. So, are we going into the domain of the vampire?
X domain or domain of X vampire?
Okay, all right.
I'm sure he's not all bad.
He has been seen for centuries. Fine.
Okay, carry on.
It's not like you met him in Galantry a few years back.
Yes.
Leading one of the armies of the undead that were fighting over Moldavia.
That is correct.
Yeah, there's a danger with going into its domain. Yeah.
Knowing that we were going to cross the boundary of the extra type stuff, Dimitri left his couple of bags with actually, well, no, he has to. He'll leave his couple of bags with Basil. The not really entirely trust Basil anymore. It's the point of years, but
It would actually have been your other character that doesn't trust him as much.
Right.
well, no. Basil apparently gave away some of Dimitri's items. like the cloak that Dr. Duck left behind in his domain. Admittedly, things like reading some of Basil's books and things. But yeah, so that's fine with that. Dimitri's not carrying any artifacts, but the artifact went through, did they?
The artifacts did go through
Measuring
because
star?
you do know that certain portals will allow artifacts through,
Yeah. So,
which is more worrying.
All right, so
than-
my regular stuff.
Your Adrian staff did travel with you.
Cool.
yes, it is quite cool in here. So,
And you see portraits lining this grand hall leading to the staircase, and nearly all the portraits resemble Dimitri.
mhm. So, you're the correct answer, I'm sure. Oh, it's got such a good-looking face. Everybody wants to look like Dimitri.
Whether they're male or female.
Yep. So it's just a staircase leading up. There's no other passages or rooms off to the side of the immediate doorway.
There were no passages either side. There was probably about a 40-foot red carpet heading to these stairs that seemed to go up 20 flights.
Just want to be careful of spikes coming down from the floor, coming down through the floor to, because the red carpet would hide those.
They would hide them quite well.
I reckon we can be fairly confident, though, that there's no wooden spikes in the floor.
Good point.
There might be steel spikes, different issue, but I don't think they'll be wooden spikes.
No.
When you reach the grand staircase, you can see that there is a balcony running around to the landing where the staircase ends, and that there are rooms off that.
Okay.
At the very top of the grand staircase is the portal you were told about that leads to the Fey Dark.
Fey Dark, yeah. Okay.
And that portal is activated by using your own blood.
Well, I don't think we did. If the active team has gone that far, I'm not certain we want to chase him into the Fey Dark by then. So.
Because the key to getting back is having blood of a relative.
But if it's your own blood, it's a very close relative.
No one who came back successfully used their own blood. They used a blood of a cousin.
Uh-huh.
Luckily, they had characters related in the party.
We will. Okay. First of all, take a listen. Make sure there's no evidence or sound of any other creatures in the area.
As you listen, I will give it to you each freely that listening around, there's no sound here whatsoever except for the sound of the three of you breathing.
That's
While
quite
the count continues, we're doing well.
And you're sure that you can actually hear an echo of your heartbeats around the room.
That's a bit scary.
Hopefully it's an echo. As opposed to be another creature nearby that we're not seeing or noticing. But, okay, Dimitri's not concerned at all, obviously, and he will go and climb the stairs, have a look in at least a couple of the rooms, first of all. Go on.
I believe no one else was speaking, so
Okay.
Dimitri can continue.
Yep. We'll go up the stairs and take a look at a couple of rooms. Dimitri might start laying out his plans for taking over this keep as well. His Dominion comes through, but
Okay, so the first room you come across has the remains of a campsite.
About 12 months old.
Looks like the campsite was last used today. There is no degrading of the campsite. And, well, the Astral Sea doesn't have a lot of wear and tear.
Did the other party talk about the fact they lived camping in one of the rooms when they first got here?
They did. They left Drazzle in one of the rooms. There's probably a reason why he didn't want to come back in.
He might still be here.
You can see that they do have windows in the room that look out, and it seems like a grey mist visible through the windows.
If it was Jack Dimmer here, he'd think, oh, I've got a castle amber all over again.
Very much so.
Whereas, obviously, to make you be aware of the castle amber terms, we're definitely in the actual plane as expected. At this stage, Dimitri's thinking, Ashen King certainly hasn't been by this way, so we'll take a look at another couple of moves. And if we're still not getting any evidence of recent life activity, or unlife activity, then I'm thinking that we should be heading back outside again and getting back to the horses and moving on towards Lung.
Okay, the next room you look in has a wall that looks at least 100 feet tall, and inscribed on the wall seems to be a family tree.
Mm-hmm.
Written in tiny writing.
Dimitri will have to have a look at that. She wants to see exactly how recently it's been updated.
You can see two glowing names on there.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being Dimitri's name,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one being Zal's name.
Presumably somewhere towards the bottom.
Both of them are one of the bottommost branches.
And as you go back up the tree, how widespread do the branches become? Or is it sort of family tree where there's only been one or two heirs in each generation that have made it quite a narrow tree?
A lot of the branches stop and don't actually continue, but there is like 3 to 6 members of a lot of families.
Mm-hmm. But seemingly, only 2 that are glowing, potentially indicating still alive.
More indicating you're expecting that they indicate have actually met with the Lord of the Keep.
Okay. When I specify still alive, I'm not necessarily ruling out still active. Just
You did know that another member was related to Zal by the name of Chauvel, and that name's not on the tree at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, certainly that'll be something that Dimitri will be curious about. For I remember some of the more recent generation, just to have a look around to see if he's got any cousins or other relatives that he was not previously aware of that he might want to look out for, whether or not they're alive or not. Going through. So.
Well, you do see that your mother's line does go up the tree.
Mm-hmm.
But not your father's line. It's just at the point where you are.
Yeah. Okay, that's quite reasonable in the sense that the family or the family that is involved in this keep was only interested in specific lineage when you're starting at the bottom. So.
And when you look up, you also see that Zal's line seems to go through the father's line. but also seems to connect back into the line in 3 other places. So is a descendant 3 times over.
Yep.
Which I'm sure will have other problems down the track.
Looking up further back up through the trail type stuff, if there happen to be at least one name on there that might be Halev?
Yes, you do see Halev and Petra up on the line, and you seem to be, when you trace your one does go up to Halev, but Zal's does not.
And is there a particular configuration of names towards the top of the tree or the bottom of the tree, depending on how you try to calculate it? Like, what's the oldest name apparently in the tree?
Oldest name on the tree is Lord Korazegi.
Yes.
And he has a birth date, but he doesn't have a death date.
Well, I'm sure that just means people don't know when he actually died.
You do notice that Halev has a birth date, a death date, a rebirth date, and an ascension date.
So, yes, it's obviously not the fact that no one's actually apparently been in the keep for quite some time. Someone keeps this tree up to date. Can Dimitri try a bit of detect magic just to confirm that with the wall and or the image or the tree itself is actually magical, or just?
Yep, it doesn't take you long to cast detect magic on it, and it radiates necromancy magic, and is very much water aligned. So you're thinking blood magic.
All fine, I'm sure.
Well, hey, blood magic and bloodline magic aren't much different.
No, they can't. And hey, we're not playing Shadowrun, so blood magic's fine.
Well, what's the best magic for a vampire to use?
Absolutely. Well, okay. Dimitri's definitely thinking this is the place he's going to come back to and have a look around more carefully. But the immediate concerns that the Ashen King potentially stopped here, I'm thinking have been eliminated. Have you got any thoughts that the Ashen King may have been here?
Well, you do see that some of the names around yours have got traces of chalk and paper.
Zool tried to copy it down rather than memorising it.
You think someone did the equivalent of rubbing the writing so that they can get a quicker, simple version of what's on there.
Is there any indication of the time when that might have happened?
Well, considering the campsite looked fresh, you'll think this looks still pretty fresh as well.
Well, yeah. But did Zool talk about the fact of the tree at all when they were there? Did they see it?
They never found it.
Right.
They hadn't explored this level that much. They had done most of their exploring.
Can I go through the 4 regional effects?
Or is that?
Can I go through the 4 regional effects of having a vampire?
You want to go through being a vampire?
No, I want to see if the So there's a noticeable increase in the populations of bats, rats, and wolves in the region. There's plants within 500 feet of the lair wither, and their stems and branches become twisted and thorny. Shadows cast within 500 feet of the lair seem abnormally gaunt and sometimes move as though alive. And a creeping fog clings to the ground within 500 feet of the vampire's lair.
And you see, we've only got one of those four, so we're all safe.
Fine, that's okay then.
Because I mean, well, the first of them about the noticeable increase in bats and wolves, well, considering things been here for maybe 1,000 years, you wouldn't notice an increase.
Well, yeah, so yeah, they all disappear within 2d6 days of the vampire being slain. So that's fine by me.
So that you haven't heard of a increase or decrease in the number of bats or wolves in this area in the lifespan of the Kalari Kingdom, because the kingdom came about after the keep was here.
Okay.
Well, I don't think that's a definitive proof, but whatever.
There's naturally always been lots of wolves and bats around here, that's all.
This nation is has the highest percentage of wolves and bats of any other nation in the region.
And so outside of this area, within 500 feet, is it a lower amount of bats and rats and wolves?
Hard to tell because most people don't come to this spot, and the bats and wolves are rampant throughout the region.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
the 500 foot area of baked earth around it and where the trees don't grow.
And Karamikos is the center of vampirism in the region.
Okay.
So a creeping fog clings to the ground within 500 feet of the vampire's lair. Is that noticeable?
Well, you can see a creeping fog out through the windows here.
But a bit like,
there you go.
That's the fog of the actual world. It wasn't particularly hot as we approached the keep. However, it was noticeably colder and moister inside the keep than it was outside the keep.
Well, it doesn't clarify that for me.
It is the sort of thing that Dimitri effectively told you that there's used to be a vampire's lair and probably still is when we entered.
Yes.
Though you did get told that his actual lair is on the side of the Fey Dark.
Okay, all right. So should we go in and kill the vampire?
You could, except he is also one of the vampire lords, so it may be harder to kill him if you don't know the special bane he has as a vampire lord.
We're not here to kill the vampire lord. We were just here to see the Ashen King, who was spreading his plague from the people down here, and potentially into Karamikos, or Karamikos proper, had stopped here after the Elven King had sent his wind out to blow it out of Redland Woods. The Lord of the Vampires that has used this location as a lair, along with a few other locations around Karamikos, including that's a different party. It actually did along the Great Northern Road between Specularum and Calvin, the so-called Duke Road.
We have Krakatoa.
It's another location where the Vampire Lord is rumoured to exist. And except for what we've seen, it's likely that in fact the Vampire Lord lives on the Fey Dark, and he's just got portals and a few scattered places around the Caribbean and other parts of the world, more than likely.
And they have connected the portals in the Feydark lead to Baldavia.
Yeah.
So you can literally walk into Galantry from Krozegi Keep.
That could be handy. If we're not crossing the border, so we're safe.
That is true. And unfortunately, where it comes out in Baldavia is where the current vampire infestation is.
Yes. That's better than the current skeletal and or Banfield, all the other undeads that are fighting each other at the moment, obviously.
Well, it is their armies that are fighting.
Yes.
And you had also learned from Zal that the vampire lords are technically immortal. They cannot be killed unless they're killed in the Feydark.
Yeah.
And in the Feydark, they are very powerful.
Challenging.
There are 5 of them, each one representing the 5 different strands of vampirism.
As in 5 different element type strands?
No, 5 different strands based on the personality of the infected.
Okay.
As we had Zal become potentially a 6th strand with one of the other PCs also getting infected. But they had a paladin go and burn the infection out of them.
Fair enough. But yes, unless you guys are seeing any evidence of the Ashen Kings here, I'm thinking we keep moving on.
Okay, you check the next room and you see it actually has an astral dock. The inside of each room doesn't match up to the other rooms. They appear to overlap each other.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, when you've been dealing with magic and portals and extra dimensional spaces, you realize that adjacency doesn't actually mean that they share the same space.
Well, I mean, just like in the life room, the ceiling was 20 foot above us, but the wall with the family tree went up for hundreds of feet.
Yep. And in this room you get a smell of brimstone.
Mm-hmm. Any evidence of recent portal activity?
I will give you a perception roll for each of you.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. 22 for Dimitri.
17.
And how about Martin? Well, Martin will get back to us when he can. So, looking at it, you can actually see ashen imprints on the ground. And each of these imprints does have brimstone smell coming from it. And they lead down to these docks that are floating in the grey mists.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be anything docked here, but you could probably dock about 20 to 30 astral boats here.
Well, in which case then, we've definitely got to at least look down further and try and confirm with this an idea of how many tracks there might have been, or whether in fact it might be for the Ashen King might be the only one that needs Ashen tracked, as opposed to all the rest of his minion, or I don't hopefully he didn't have many of them left at the time.
Well, you think you could determine probably about 5 to 10 unique prints.
Mm-hmm.
Reason is they were different sizes.
Yep.
And each of them gave off a scent of brimstone.
Mm-hmm. All humanoid, but like a different size, but all humanoid still, or?
All humanoid, ranging from a size of child's feet to that of an overly large human. Or potentially a dwarf.
Yeah. So you say 5 to 10 based on size differences, but presumably also with number of actual prints and things?
Well, you can't really determine much beyond the size of the imprint.
Yeah.
So you've got about 5 to 10 shoe sizes. The reason you say 5 to 10 is some of them are close enough that it may be the same size.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe I'd like to accept the idea. So, okay, hang on, yeah. We happen to have 2 left foot prints that are about the same size that are next to each other, possibly different people. So,
And they went down to 5 different wharfs, so they didn't go to the same spot.
Okay.
So you'd think there was at least 5 boats moored here.
So 24. But that's irrelevant because it's from 5 minutes ago.
It's okay. And yes, Martin is able to confirm that there was at least 15 different sets of feet because he got high enough to hit that number.
Yeah,
Cool.
and that would also be part of the process of, okay, if we look down at the 5 different wharves stuff, whether or not there's indications of how many prints went to each wharf might become clearer in that sort of way. So.
And he does detect at least, looks as if 2 boats were moored on each wharf.
Good.
Right.
Yeah, the Ashen King certainly stood away with a number of minions.
He may have actually have had a bunch of minions waiting here for him.
Yeah.
And being on the Astral Sea, it means he can bypass a lot of ways to track him.
Yes.
Trellin also believes that there is a demonic influence involved, so they're probably using, probably have a entropic patron who is a demon.
Right.
It's something that you had come across as Willie, but had never actually met in person.
I'll have to figure out what my planes do. Planes being generated by the flame tongue longsword, but I'm worried that the demonic nature won't affect them.
Well, I think I would expect that your flame's going to have the flame tongue or the flames or the flame tongue. I wouldn't expect to have much effect on the Ashen King himself. And I think, didn't we also have, you noticed that there was issues fighting some of the minions? So I think we used some bows against minions, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. So yes, I'll stick to that, and I can back off 1,000 feet and feel free just to fight them. What's the specialty of your druid?
Healing and fire damage.
Okay, healing fire damage.
Oh, you can get word fire on that, yeah.
I never said that.
Either way, there's no boats left at the wharf, is there?
There are no boats left at the wharf.
Okay.
And it
Yeah.
currently astral navigation is beyond Dimitri's training.
Training, not attitude. But it's not like he's got spells to actually try and summon a astral boat or anything like that.
And you do know that in the astral sea, it's not a two-dimensional plane. You can literally go in any direction.
Yeah. So, we can do the spells for to summon an actual boat, but it wouldn't surprise me if Drazel's cart counts. Well, it would appear that we're not going to be able to follow the trail any further from this location right now, but the fact that it's definitely clear that the Ashen King at least stopped and quite possibly did use this as a bit of a base of operations if he'd left some personnel behind to man the boat while he was gone, it's probably worth at least looking at all the other rooms on this side of the Fey Dam in here. If there's any other evidence or leftovers from the Ashen King's presence.
Sounds good.
You guys happy with that?
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so heading back into the rooms, you find another room that has what appears to be a desk and some empty shelves. And there are a couple of pages left lying on the desk.
Mm-hmm.
Looks as if they may have been dropped in haste.
Okay. And the so far in this location, aside from some action footprints on the ground, there hasn't been any dust or anything like that. It looks like the place has been well maintained and gets cleaned out regularly, touched up. It's not like we can look at the bookshelves and expect to see dust or remnants where books might have been stolen or anything like that.
Well, you do know that in the astral space, things don't deteriorate over time.
No.
So if a body dies, it doesn't deteriorate.
Yeah.
But it can be consumed by other creatures, but that's a completely different matter. So you don't expect to see dust or...
No, actually, I was confirming that was the case. Like, it's not like there's going to be that good as markers. Well, okay, have a look at these couple of pages and see if we can work out what they've come from and where they might have been left.
Okay, so it seems to be relating to a vampire lord by the name of Dracula and trying to eliminate his descendants.
Mm-hmm.
Because if his descendants are all eliminated, he will be banished from this world forever.
Of course he will. That's great.
And certainly seems likely it was part of Koritsky's research rather than Ashen King's research. Assuming they're different people.
Dimitri's on there as well, so we've got to kill Dimitri.
No. It's Dimitri's on Koritsky's family tree. Whereas this is to kill Dracula, one of the other vampire lords.
Ah, right. Okay.
One of the 5 vampire lords that are currently battling up in Moravia with their undead armies.
And it does
Okay.
note down that each vampire lord's minions have different weaknesses.
Right. Can we learn anything from this?
And the writer has identified two main strands of vampirism. One being the one you're used to, which is relating to blood, and the other one being one relating to life force. So one drains your blood, one drains your life force. One of them you can generally tell the difference between the two, because if you use True Sight, one of them looks like a humanoid, whereas the other one looks like a humanoid bat.
All right. Does anyone have any True Sight access to True Sight?
I can check your spells.
Again, the Dimitri will certainly take these sheets of research, because hey, they can be added to the library. Yes, he's again, it's not really treating them as something that's of immediate value against the Ashen King.
And you do find that this paperwork does have brimstone smell associated with it.
Well, that could be because the Ashen King, the pages dropped out of the book that the Ashen King might have taken. Or it could be indicative of the fact that the Ashen King was doing part of the research, and the Ashen King might be one of the vampire lords, which would be so much more fun.
And you can see that the one of the pages is an etching of the family tree.
Gosh.
And it has some of Dimitri's cousins on them.
There you go.
So we take the evidence of the fact that someone had taken a copy of the baseline of the family tree. So, but yes, that certainly gives the potential indication of the Ashen King might be opposed to these vampire lords, or as I say, one of them, as opposed to the other vampire lords, and trying to find out the descendants of the vampire lords to as easier targets. Not that Dimitri would ever be an easy target.
Well, you do notice that one of the notes has a date associated with it. It was dated over 20 years ago.
As in, like, it looked like the research was done 20 years ago.
It does look as if the research was written down 20 years ago.
Okay. Is there any other furniture or anything like that in the room that might indicate that, or obviously the bookshelves are all bare, but like were like chair of the desk knocked over or things like that, on the idea that the sense that someone kind of ransacked the room?
It does look as if someone may have emptied the room. Not sure exactly when, but it does have signs of being heavily affected.
Yeah, okay. Deliberately emptied and not necessarily by the original owner. So potentially the Ashen King came here and left somebody's minion behind to try and loot the place while he went wandering off down to the cave. Or actually off to only to then come towards the cave to make it look like he jumped with the kid on it.
Looking through some of the stuff, you do find a scrap on one of the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
It has a signet marking that you recognize belonging to someone by the name of Van Richter. Van Richten.
Van Richten.
Mm.
Is that recognised in the sense of one of the old vampire lords, or a well-known family that might have tried to compete against the vampire lords?
It is a obscure family line that has been fighting vampires for almost as long as vampires have been around.
Yeah.
Also of Traldar descent.
Yep. Well, if anyone knows how to fight vampires, it's Strollars. Although, I guess you could say that they're the ones who failed most at fighting vampires, because they haven't managed to get rid of them for accident.
Though you do remember stories of from your father talking about his grandfather working with the Van Richtens.
Yeah.
So you may be related to the vampire and the hunter.
Yeah.
So me quick to the mark and targeting you, but yeah, let's wait a bit.
Okay. It's the werewolves that went off in that cousin's too, that was locked shit, but yeah, they don't come to family picnics.
Well,
Yeah,
you
okay,
know
well-
that each of the Traldaran families do have members who, in somewhere along their family tree, have become werewolves.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of them had vampires. Because, hey, being dead doesn't stop you having family, obviously.
Well, as long as they're necromancers, they can make their own family.
Yeah. So, and unlike some people, they get to choose their family. Much nicer. But Dimitri's certainly keen to keep looking through this, any other rooms in this the balustrade area of the staircase. But yes, he is concerned though that he's not likely to actually find any more evidence for the Ashen King. But hey, if there's any evidence left of Hereditary Chief, that's certainly of interest.
Okay, you find that the other doors don't seem to open for you.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's not surprising considering there were quite a few doors that Zal wasn't able to open.
Yeah.
Just that whatever other rooms he found, you never found.
Yeah, so the fact that, yes, he certainly, some of the rooms that he described are not rooms that I found the doors to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you travel through to the Fey Dark, there's a good chance you'll come back with vampirism.
That's I had no intention of going into the Fey Dark portal, at least not right now anyway, because, as I said, obviously that's not the way, or it's apparently not the way that the Ashen King went, or came from. So, having explored all the areas we can, aside from the Fey Dark, I would suggest it's better to return outside and talk to Drazzle and to say, hey, you can't travel the astral sea. And how good you're tracking? Can you track a falcon on a cloudy day?
I'm sure.
That actually that would go to all to Colin and or get rid of well, but I think that if you can track a falcon on a cloudy day, then you still won't be able to track something on the actual scene.
I'm sure that Drizzle won't actually be able to track something like that.
Would you start actually be able to convert the feeds?
He will say, not today.
Today, right. Yes. Actually not from that cheap, because I might beat myself.
But he does say that traversing through the astral can sometimes take you backwards or forwards, as well as to other locations.
The astral sea certainly connects to a lot of times and places. Dimitri would suggest that it's potentially worth travelling on to Luln just to confirm there's no evidence of the Ashen King having gone through there or and released the plague or spread the plague through that area, through that town village, whatever it is. But then he'd probably be keen to head back to the following day. I expect that in Luln, we may not get there this evening, will we? Depending on how long we end up spending inside Preston Cape.
You could reach Luln by evening. It's a lot less rugged. It does have hills, but you could quite easily cut straight across from Crozegi Keep to Luen.
Yeah.
No worries.
And then, yeah, okay. So I'm thinking that that's probably advantageous. And then Dimitri would be thinking that, well, if we presumably don't find any evidence of the Ashen King in Lorne, then it might require research back at the library again to try and work out, is it possible to track places across the Astral Sea, and how do we traverse the Astral Sea? Again, that's not necessarily something that would be an overnight research project.
Well, you are at the level
library
where... What was that, Martin?
Which library was it? The
library in Creton.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, which is probably one of the biggest libraries in Canberra now.
There is a big library in Specularum at the Magician's Guild.
Yeah.
And an equally large library in Verge at your master's residence. She still maintains quite the extensive library.
Yeah, but the point being the fact that the Creton library would certainly be the most immediately accessible.
It is.
I suppose actually. Technically, if we jump on the back of horses, then we get to Specularum. In about the same sort of time as taking the normal horse to Creton.
You have older volumes than the other two libraries.
Yeah.
The Verge Library deals a lot with Traldaran knowledge. The Quasqueton Library deals with the Traldar knowledge, and the Speculum Library deals mainly with Diaton knowledge.
Yeah. I'm expecting, though, that considering the portals that were at the top of the Teleguard, obviously apparently created at the top of the thing, that possibly there's some more knowledge of portals and the actual planes and things like that in the Quasqueton Library as well. So
There is, and Zelagar has been able to tell you where most of those portals used to go to.
Yep. And yeah, it's certainly something that Dimitri's been studying those books quite a lot for the last few years. He having developed it as one of his secret plants. But yeah, so we will aim to head to Lorne and spend the night there, but also reassess and look for any evidence of the Ashen King in the vicinity.
Okay, so
You go with the rulers of the local mayor, whoever it is, type stuff. Because obviously, to me, to be able to walk straight in on his residence.
So you do know the local mayor is a famous Traldaran warrior, Sashia.
Gotcha. Okay.
Quite well known. Expected that she will be one of the new domain lords to come.
Yep.
To see if I can actually bring up the Mistress Saskia. So Sascia, known as the town mistress.
The town what?
Town, the town mistress.
Oh, mistress. Sorry.
Because of course they don't make the mayors when they're female.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Well, this book was 1987, so they don't quite have equal opportunity back then.
Right.
Okay, so she is. When you arrive at sunset, and you see outside of town there are bonfires with bodies on top of them.
Oh.
Any smell of brimstone at all as we approach?
There is a heavy stench of brimstone in the air, as well as goblin flesh.
Goblin.
Are there guards on the gate? Are there any exits that are coming through?
There are lots of soldiers about.
Then, like I say, no, because we came from overland, so we wouldn't have seen likely evidence of travel along the road or anything like that at that point. So,
but when you start coming in, you are greeted by Sashia. I believe at this stage she's actually Lord, having gained her title around the same time you did.
Yep.
And she greets you warmly as one of the other Lord Traldarans in the nation.
Mm-hmm. Traldaran's got to fit together.
Especially this close.
We've got a somewhat decent Ashen ruler at the moment.
Well, especially this close to the Black Eagle Barony, she says.
Yes.
Over the last 2 days, they have been attacked by goblins and some sort of demons that she can't identify, who turned to dust when killed.
And they appear to be coming out of the Black Eagle Barony?
No, they had a bunch of them come from Redleb Wood, and the goblins attacked around the same time from the south. But the confusing thing was, at some point, the creatures from the woods and the creatures from the south ended up fighting each other.
Mm. Were they apparently working together until that point?
Well, she thought they were, until given the chance to attack each other, they completely ignored the town and went to, and basically That was the time the tide turned. They waited until they had pretty much exhausted themselves fighting each other, and they fell on the rest and exterminated them.
Ain't funny.
She doesn't expect it to be just as easy to happen in the future. But
And so you were saying that this battle occurred about 2 days ago?
the battle finished at sunrise today, she says.
Ah.
And started
About a day before that. It took him a long time to stop them getting into town, and then them turning on each other, wearing themselves down, and her knights hunting down and stopping the rest of them.
Yeah, but so it certainly improved the timing as to when Dimitri and Strelin and Bradshaw were, well, in Plumman technically, were following the ones from Radlett Keep up to Quesqueton. Would have actually been at the same time as that. Is that right, February?
It would have been around the same time. So
Yeah, so it's not like the ones that got blown away by the Elven wind suddenly appeared outside Null. Yeah.
Yeah, it could quite
And in
easily
fact,
have
if
been.
they started attacking each other, right, so the fact that effectively you finished off the battle at dawn this morning, but it actually been going for effectively 24 hours. Is that right?
It had been going for about 24 hours, so it lasted longer than your fight.
Yeah. But it also then means that they were starting. Where did they start fighting each other?
They started fighting each other at sunrise. Well,
Okay.
sorry, it would have been about midday, they say.
Right. So yeah. So midday yesterday. So well before the wind from the Elven Woods, even went through our area, let alone going all the way to Null if it was going to. Is that right?
That's it was around that time, yeah.
Yeah. But yes, I remember that we finished our battle. Oh, well, we had time to get to the Keep, to Quesqueton, so I guess it was mid-afternoonish or something. But yeah. But yes, not necessarily a correlation between the dissipation of the forces between Radley Keep and Quesqueton and the fighting amongst the goblins and the east.
You believe that if it was members of the Ashen King, he had more than one force.
Yeah.
Because he did have some outside Radleb Keep that got destroyed as well.
Yeah. And I'm also looking at the fact that it's not like for those that are actually in Radleb Woods, the wind caused by the Elven King was enough to effectively eviscerate them.
Well, they do say that a bunch of them did fall back towards Krozegi Keep. They're not sure if they got them all.
Yeah, no, they can't. But I just like if the wind continued further all the way to Loom, it's not like the wind suddenly caused the discord amongst the goblins and the Ashen King forces. It was likely that was already there. They just took time to actually get to each other.
They report they had no wind because it never happened around their town. You also know that the elven magic doesn't extend outside their forest.
Yeah, exactly. It was all just basically yes. Correlation and confirmation of Dimitri's thought processes. Did any of the particularly did the goblins appear to be normal? Would they appear to be afflicted at all?
She thought that they were afflicted, but anyone coming from the Black Eagle Barony, she believes to be afflicted.
Oh, it's sort of, it's more the idea again, whether or not any of the forces actually got into Null or...
None of them made it into town. She's got no one with signs of the symptoms that the demonic forces were spreading. Though she has reported that the Dragonborn from Blight Swamp seem to have disappeared. Maybe they succumbed to whatever this plague is.
Dimitri will be interested in that, but they had more from the perspective of something that might pass on to other people via Redrin or via the sending stones.
And there's reports of gnolls that are not gnolls coming out of the north of the Luan, so following the Chelos River. Riverfolk Keep has been reporting these dog-like humanoids.
Does that match up with any of the other reports or information that Dimitri's had through Redrin?
Not through Redrian, but you do have lore of some, instead of jackal-based humanoids, they're more canine, more like domesticated dogs than wild dogs. And through the history you've actually read, they had completely dominated the Traldar people to the point where they had almost killed the culture.
Apparently have not been, let's say, read about such creatures in history book, but apparently they haven't been an influence for hundreds or thousands of years.
And Lord Karazegi is one of the people who led the revolt against them.
Yeah.
Meaning it was quite a long time ago.
Yes, that's right. So,
And it said that he sealed them in a valley in the mountains. Which, for your perspective, is probably a lot easier to see on the map.
Lost Valley of
Yep, that's the name of the race.
Yeah.
And it's at the head of the Achelos River.
Yep.
And you see Riverfort Keep is here, with Luan just been down the trail.
Has Lorne heard from Riverfort Keep much in the recent weeks?
They have been in negotiation with the halflings about how many forces they can spare to send to help Dorican.
Yep.
Because they have to convince the halflings not to invade Karamikos at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that was all part of the potential negotiations with now King Stefan was the RGF, yep. Currently thought that he could stand without depleting and exposing himself to the Black Eagle Barony and the Halfling.
Though Sashia also talks about how the up-and-coming king, Stefan, is in negotiations with the elven clans of Alfheim to migrate into the Dimrak forest.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So obviously, Lady Saskia is. Well, was she at has the coronation actually happened yet?
I say
Or is she
yes.
still planning?
I say she's actually a. I believe she was knighted, so she's a landed knight.
Yeah.
So she's considered Sir Saskia.
Okay. But and you say the fact that technically she got her title at a similar sort of time as Dimitri did.
Yep.
But then she was likely present. I'm trying to think when Dimitri and Co came back with the treaty from the guy starting with A. That's gone out of my head.
Alphatia.
Alphatia, yeah. But we haven't actually had the coronation ceremony, have we?
You have not had the coronation. The coronation was supposed to happen soon. See if I wrote the date down.
So depending upon exactly when Saskia was locked in Specularum and how much news she's had, Dimitri will aim to catch her up on much of the court gossip.
Well, you see that she's also been trying to convince some of the dwarves and gnomes of Highforge to set up a mechanical smithery out of her town.
Well, I'm sure there's worthy mining rights you could offer amongst in the hills. So.
Well, she's hoping to fortify the place to the point where they will no longer be worried about the forces of Fort Doom.
Yeah. I'm sure that between us we will be able to fortify the western flanks of Catamacroc very effectively.
But she is definitely willing to set up a trade route between Lewin and Quasqueton.
Mm-hmm.
And also with Trellin's monastery, if he is interested.
Sure. Level 12, yeah, that sounds good.
Though it's a lot harder for her to get people to your monastery as there are no roads through the forest.
Well, as long as they can swing by tree and tree, that's fine.
She just laughs and says, no, she doesn't have any tree huggers amongst her people.
Okay. Any trade that worth conducting with the monasteries within Radlett Woods, Chris Creason's quite happy to act as the gateway to such trade.
Okay.
Lying about the transaction fees or anything like that, all good. Make rates at all.
She is curious to see if you've heard anything more about why the Dragonborn of the Blight Swamp have disappeared.
That's a mystery.
Well, there's certainly rumours of some of the Dragonborn further west in the Malfegi Swamp.
Where did you hear that?
Organised. So Dimitri listened when
so was it Dimitri listening? Oh, okay.
Okay, so this area over here on the map where you can see the pointer is where Jeremy knows from his other character that most of the Dragonborn of the region have travelled to.
Yeah.
Right.
So Dimitri's not necessarily stating that, yes, the Black Swamp Dragonborn will have departed to go there, but he's saying, oh, yeah, well, there's certainly been some activity further west. Whether it's connected or not, Dimitri's not going to actually confirm or deny, although he's quite confident that, in fact, actually, like many of the nations around the world, the Dragonborn, new nations that they apparently are, although as some people have found out, they're nearly as new as people think they are. Also gathering forces in preparation for the oncoming war.
As they have taken the Malfegi swamp from Darrakan themselves.
Not so much taken.
They didn't ask for permission. They didn't quite ask for permission before staging all their people there.
The actual chronology of events. Still, Darrakan deeded the Malfegi swamp effectively to the Dragonborn. Thanks to the heroics of a certain general.
Yes, but it was more after the cart had bolted.
The chronology is not that important.
Where is this knowledge coming from? Is it coming from
Tuesday night's group?
Well,
how does it relate to you?
Because Dimitri has sending stones to keep in contact with both the other groups.
Okay. Rightio.
So Dimitri does maintain fairly close communications with both the Tuesday and the Friday night group.
Which is why he has that air of authority that he doesn't seem to deserve half the time.
Whatever.
Well, it's also why, yes, he appears to have all this knowledge and understanding of stuff that others in the party had no idea about, but that's only because he just hadn't passed on something important, that's all. He's telling you now, but you should.
Okay, so you were given a fairly nice potato-based meal and semi-decent accommodation. It's dry, it's clean, but not much else.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with potatoes.
Lewin doesn't have a lot of riches to go around. But as your statuses of lords of the nation, you do get free accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Awesome.
And the elves definitely get a lot of interest from the locals because elves don't always venture this far west. Most of them avoid Krozegi Keep as if their life depended upon it.
Why?
Because your life depends upon it.
It is the most haunted place of the region.
Okay.
And people who stay the night there generally don't return.
And possibly it's because the Lord of Koresi Keep thinks of those elves as Johnny-come-latelys that are invading his land.
Right.
And it's also the at night the Dark Fae are all in that region. So it is tightly linked to the Fae Dark and not a favoured place of the elves.
Okay.
And yeah, those youngsters bringing their rock music and stuff like that. That's annoyed.
Dark Fae. Right.
But yeah, I guess the most important thing when Pistachio is the fact that following the battle, you didn't have any indications or of activity or anything like that from Ashen King forces today.
None today, but they had spent most of the evening and day gathering up the bodies and putting them onto a bonfire because of the risk of infection.
Absolutely. No, that's certainly all good. Demetri will certainly pass on the fact that, yes, there was evidence that the Ashen King was or did approach Radlett Keep, but they managed to keep him out.
Well, they had about 100 of the demonic forces and probably about 200 goblins.
Yeah.
And that they were expecting that the goblins were just as infected as the demonic forces, just most likely different infections, knowing that goblins were involved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it was more the idea that technically the Ashen King himself was not actually leading those forces because he'd moved on to Radlett Keep, and when he got blown out of Radlett Woods, there's no evidence that he came back by a null or long.
It seems to have been fairly quiet as they gathered the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to rise up now, they'd be a little worried because a burning body would be a lot harder to deal with.
Yep. But otherwise, no other recent news out of Fort Doom itself?
They generally don't get news out of Fort Doom except for arrows and swords.
Yeah.
Though they're sure that Bargle may be behind most of that, as she says while spitting on the floor.
Yeah. He's behind all of it, Fort Doom, is he not?
Well, it is believed that he has corrupted the mind of the Duke's cousin, which is why they can't mount an assault against Fort Doom, because it is the cousin of the ruler of the nation.
Yep, I'm sorry.
So it would be considered treason to attack Fort Doom at this stage.
Well, until we can provide evidence or otherwise that Fort Doom might launch an attack first. We'll see. They're all potential for the future. We can work those out.
Though she is tempted to accidentally claim part of the Black Eagle Barony's domain as her own as she expands.
Well, I wouldn't say that's inappropriate. That's so. Providing refuge, those trying to escape the barony, if we can bring the borders closer, then that's certainly advantageous.
But it does mean that she will then be responsible for containing the threat.
Like I say, I'm sure that the captain of Radlett Keep that I spoke to a couple of days ago, whilst he didn't necessarily do an impressive job at holding back the hordes from spreading beyond his keep, he did at least manage to funnel them and keep them out of the keep itself. So it became a somewhat trustworthy and steadfast personality.
Yes, she's had a lot of good dealings with them, just that they can't really come to the aid of the town all the time. Their job is to keep the road open between Red Keep, and Speculum. So they're well used to dealing with vampires, werewolves, and various other bandits along the road.
It's grown up in Canberra. I mean, Canberra.
Well, it's been 40 years since it was called Karamikos, she says.
Yes. A lot more than 40 years it was called Canberra.
Well, that was her point, because she is Treldaran.
Exactly. Yes. It wasn't a slip of the tongue from Dimitri to call it Caldara first.
She has heard reports from the Grand Duke that he is thinking of renaming Specularum in honor of the original town's name.
He's planning on returning it to the name's got in my head down too.
Mirrors, she says.
Mm-hmm.
Due to the mirror-like bay.
Yeah. Well, it certainly, yes, I have been somewhat pleasantly surprised in my interactions with his soon-to-be Majesty that he's not quite like other Titans.
Yes, he actually has a conscience.
He's yes, and he does appear to have the growth and goodwill of our lands at his heart. We might go to call him Caldara eventually.
Yes, the only thing she has also on her plate to deal with is seeing if she can eventually put an end to the threat of Korozegi Keep.
Well, if you're happy, I will aim to take care of that issue. I was planning on, yes. We can get into a fold of quest on and at least pacify its effects.
Yeah.
Well, she'll definitely be happy to see it more of a productive member of the nation instead of one of its blights.
Certainly when Dimitri was going past the trip like again, he was eyeing off some of the potential mining opportunities in those hills.
She asked where you intend to go now that you've reached her town. Are you looking to travel north and visit somewhere else? Are you here on a mission for the Grand Duke to be king?
Well, the main purpose of this was we heard the rumours of advance of the Ashen King onto Rattler Keep, and so we came to go through there, and as I said, whilst we dispersed the Ashen King in the Rattler Woods, and obviously you and your forces have done well to disperse the immediate threat around Lawn. So it appears that it's been any immediate effect has been pushed back to Port Doom and the Black Eagle Barony. It may be necessary to go into the Black Eagle Barony itself to try and get to the source of the plague.
She says, well, beware of Bargle because like all foul wizards, she says, not you included, he is very much a dominating enchanter
Yeah.
who mainly dresses in black.
Well, as I said, assuming that the Ashen King is not working directly for Bargle, and understandably, that's a big assumption at the present time. But if the plague that he's spreading is a problem for Fort Doom as well, then
She wouldn't put it past Spargle to be trying to take the throne of Fort Doom.
Oh, absolutely not.
Because he does the Baron of Fort Doom does have a throne, she says, even though he's only a Baron.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I guess if the Ashen King's plague did spread through Fort Doom, and the King's cousin were to succumb to the effect.
Well, then it would just happen to be rather unfortunate that the place got burnt down to stop the spread of the plague, she says. Shall I get my torch?
And obviously then, if it's not being controlled, no longer under the rule of His soon-to-be Majesty's cousin, then there's a lot less political concerns as well.
Well, if the servants of the Baron all got swept into the sea as ash, then there would be no problems with someone competent taking the reins and bringing the enlightenment into the area.
Absolutely, and obviously then gaining access to another effective harbour within the land.
Yep, she has agreed to serve the king as a knight of the realm, so she will more than happily quell the spread of such a disease for the benefit of the kingdom, she says.
Yes, we can. If the disease were to be allowed to burn through and run its course all within Fort Doom, then, well, it would be unfortunate for the other inhabitants, but it would still solve problems.
It would, though she does say that many of the inhabitants of Fort Doom are enslaved, so it is not necessarily easy to save them if you were to say burn the place down, because they wouldn't be able to escape their shackles.
No, that's right. So it'd be an unfortunate, but hey, I can't think what the standard acceptable casualties type stuff or justifiable losses.
Collateral damage.
Collateral damage. Yeah.
It's fine.
Any of those would be totally happy for Dimitri.
No, there are quite a few halfling clans who have family members in there.
Yeah, that's like a bother Dimitri. It might bother some ex-halflings, but hey, that's not Dimitri's problem.
More fuel for the fire.
So does our Trellian have any connections back to his halfling roots, or has he completely severed that and doesn't care what happens to them?
No, I do have.
You smiled when you had opportunity to go back and watch what they were doing.
I do have a connection to the halflings, so I don't want them to get trashed.
Yeah, they're not going to get thrashed next time. Well, they won't get thrashed and do the work, but they might get burnt and die, but not thrashed.
You will free them, but free them from their life.
No,
Free them from slavery.
I don't want to do that.
You don't want to free them from slavery?
No.
You're happy to leave them enslaved. Oh, people think the meat is hard.
Well, better enslavement rather than dying.
Well, talking about killing them. That's allowing Black Eagle Barony to handle its own plague problems.
Yeah. And unlike most places, at least they can only die once.
Yes, but I don't want them to die at all.
Well, she does say that the life expectancy of the halflings in the region is about 50 years.
Right. Well, humans are less than that, I think.
Yeah. A good solid long life, obviously.
Well, it's about 40 years for the average human in Fort Doom.
Yeah.
But of course, that's only if they're Traldaran, she says. The Thyatans seem to have a life expectancy of about 70. So the Thyatans have a life expectancy of about 70.
Maybe a better life like that. The Titans, they tend to live it up. And considering the average, the normal life of a halfling would actually be of the order of the 300 type, I feel 150 to 300, isn't it?
What was that? Sorry, I missed that, Jeremy.
It's about 120.
A halfling normally live to 150 type stuff, can't it?
They're generally twice that of a human, so they can live up to about 200 years given conditions, but most of them live to about 120.
Yeah.
Whereas most humans can live to 100, but most of them live to about 60 to 70.
Yeah.
Whereas elves can live up to 1,000 given conditions and looking after themselves.
And not being stolen out of time.
That too.
So Crowland's happy with the plan of just ensuring the plague does not leave the Black Eagle Barony.
Well, the halfling reaches adulthood at the age of 20 and generally lives into the middle of his or her second century.
Yeah.
And
But you've been told the fact that the halflings of Fort Doom, if they live to 50, they've had a long life. You talk about the fact that they're enslaved and treated like slaves. They are the Traldaran humans.
humans reach adulthood in their late teens and live less than a century.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's 50% or maybe 60% less.
Mm-hmm. As I said,
in Mystara, depending on which region you're in, human lifespan is greatly different. In the Atruaghin Clans, the humans generally live to about 30 years of age.
Yeah. Right.
It's one of the reasons why my character in the Atruaghin Clans is I got kicked out for a while and it's now recognized as a revered very elder. I won't say very revered elder, I'll say revered very elder. He's approaching 35 in real world.
And as such, he's older than probably 99% of the population of the Atruaghin Clans.
Obviously, it's the sort of thing they've recognised that while they were previously always led by the strongest, they're now recognising the value of being led by the wisest and oldest.
Really?
Considering the fact they elected Jack Dimmer to be the clan chief of chiefs, and he's definitely amongst the oldest.
Might
That
not.
had nothing to do with Jack Dimmer, by the way. He wasn't even there. That's part of the reason why they got elected. He was all the clan chiefs got together. Who's not here? We'll pick him. Who's not here to say no?
Well, if no one else wants the role, who are they going to give it to?
Exactly. It's the person who wasn't there to say no, I'm not interested. Also, the one that was barely aware that he was a clan chief at the time.
And he has the biggest clan backing him, so the other clans are a little intimidated.
Mm-hmm. But yes. So.
So she's asking, how soon do you intend to deal with the issues of Crozegi Keep?
Immediately. Because that's behind that's between the barony of Kelvin and Loln, so that's the priority.
Well, no, it's more specifically between Quest Queton and Luln, i.e. it's exactly halfway between the two settlements.
And Dimitri knows he has to get some blood from one of his relatives to be able to come back if you do that.
You get to come back from the Feywild portal, you mean?
Yes, do come back from the Fey Dark portal.
Okay, yeah. Certainly the initial way that Dimitri was planning on dealing with Quest Keep was encompassing into his domain and claiming the hex and things like that sort of stuff. That's right. We'll look after it. We'll keep it under control. Justice.
Well, you do know you cannot claim it until you clear the keep of its influence.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't count as being fully explored until you've wiped out all threats in that hex.
Okay.
You'd have previously
Definition of wiped out or a threat. His family's not going to hurt me.
unless, of course, you are part of his plan for becoming a god.
Mm-hmm. So it's something like, we'll imagine that if it did come to technically playing the hex, then it could easily potentially be the idea of, oh, look, yep, Lord Koekeki doesn't oppose the claiming, and so therefore, yep, technically Dimitri can stick up his border sticks around it. And but okay, so certainly talking to Sasha, it's definitely on the to-do list, but as we've discussed, there's a lot going on in the world at the moment, and I'm fairly certain that we can at least make sure that it goes no more active than it has for the last few decades.
She still believes that the Lord of the Keep is responsible for the massacres along the Duke's Road every spring. Though the fact that the last couple of years the massacres have been of giants has actually been to the protection of the people, still doesn't stop the fact that he has been killing Phaeacians and merchants for close to 50 years.
Yeah. But we're talking Phaeacians. And Phaeacian merchants.
And some of them have been Treldarans as well, but not as many.
Yeah. But I mean, that's also that's the Lord of Karatovsky.
She just laughs and going, sure. Reports do state it is a vampire of unusual power committing all the massacres.
Yes.
One that the usual vulnerabilities don't seem to stop.
No, that's right. And
sunlight doesn't stop it. Wooden stakes don't stop it. Silver doesn't stop it, and running water doesn't stop it.
But actually, I'll tell you, I heard a good authority. He's also a bit distracted up north too at the moment, right now. So,
yes, but she wouldn't want to be the one poking the hornet's nest, which is why she's so happy that you're taking that responsibility.
Yeah, and that's okay. Don't be sensitive. We will definitely deal with it. But as I say, he's on his to-do list. But looking across at Trellin, it probably won't be tomorrow's job.
Well, I don't know how far it's only 2 hexes away, but Coruscant Keep isn't too far.
No, well, we only just came from there.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's the place we were at this morning.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it's the one that has the portal to the Fey Dark, so you've actually got to get into the Fey Dark to defeat him.
Right.
And if we were coming out of the Fey Dark again, Beaker's got to make a trip back home first.
Okay.
And that's more than just back to Queen's Creton, because...
Is that Specularum?
No, that's actually up near Verd.
Because your family's located in Threshold.
Well, no, family actually located... Well, the Peckman family grew up in is located outside of Verd. He got sent to Threshold by Lady Halia after he'd been taken on by Lady Halia, as his father was quite happy to get rid of another useless mouth to feed.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, no, it was literally when he picked his history book, which you don't hear that, yep. It's not hard to beat you never made him a good peasant.
Not surprising, considering he tried to mansplain to everyone how things worked.
So he'd have to make a trip back towards Bergs to at least talk to his family again that he hasn't really tried to catch up with probably about 12 years. What was it? We're 1 year per level, aren't we?
You are 1 year per level, so it has been over 12. Well, probably would have been closer to 14 years, considering you were
They got
apprentice.
a bit of apprentice time and things like that. So, like, even when he went through Verge, he didn't go back and check on his family at that point. So, but as I said, like from Dimitri's perspective, yes, dealing with Korsky Keep does not necessarily involve killing the vampire lord.
Okay, no worries.
If you can actually effectively negotiate with great granddad and say, hey, I'll get control of the surrounding areas of these pieces.
And I'm
If I
sure,
can,
I'm sure Dimitri wouldn't mind having the extra title of Renfield.
The but yeah, as I say, it's like it's right now. Lord Koretsky is far from the biggest problem that Karamikos in the world is facing.
Yes, but the Knight of Lund doesn't necessarily think far beyond her borders at this stage.
I can fully understand it, but as I said, it's certainly one of the things that Dimitri will be trying to mansplain to Saxia about the greater world politics of the present time, and that the imminent threat of the Master and the fall of Garrican is a significantly greater threat to the world.
She is asking, are you intending on continuing to fight in their armies?
The main goal at the present time is to help recruit forces to hold back the Master.
Well, she recommends getting, enlist Fort Doom. She's sure that if you can get them to fight on Darrakan's side, there'll be no problems.
Well, I would agree that if the forces of Fort Doom were to go there, that would free up a lot of the problems. But I suspect that we haven't necessarily got much to really offer them to even reduce their forces, that they might feel that even if Kalamikos did send equivalent forces to the Darrakan front, they probably still feel like they're not actually leaving their they're still leaving their place undefended from elements in the vicinity.
Yeah, she doesn't expect that you would actually send anything of value.
All right.
She doesn't expect that would send anything of value.
No, that's just it. And like I said, it'd be great if they did, but unfortunately, I just don't think that we've got anything that we could actually use as a bargaining chip for them, except maybe ending the blight. But even that relies on the fact that A, it wasn't Bargle himself that brought the blight upon them, and B, as we were discussing earlier, the blight has some potential advantages as long as we contained within the Black Eagle Baron.
Well, she has tried to contain it, but there has not been any real blight reported since the Black Eagle had expelled them from his borders.
Seemingly, all those that got expelled have been
attacking Loon, Red Lead Keep, and your domain.
That's right. But also that relies on the idea of, so I would actually expel all the potential infected. It's more likely that some remain behind. So,
Yeah, she would have expected to have heard more outbreaks since then. But they were expelled about a week before. Just that most of them ended up on the doorstep of Red Lake Keep. She had considered taking them in, except for her suspicions of anything coming out of the Black Eagle.
yeah, okay. It's certainly a good thing not to bring them in, because, yes, those afflicted were effectively already dead. So,
well, from her opinion, if the Black Eagle feared them enough to send them out of the barony itself, they can't have been good.
But obviously, yes, the Black Eagle perspective again, and I guess if they were able to effectively expel them and remove the blight from their own lands, that just gives further evidence to suggest that maybe they were in control of this Ashen King.
Yeah, she expected that until the goblins started fighting them.
But did the goblins apparently come out of Fort Doom?
They had apparently came out of Fort Doom.
Okay, right.
And from what they were able to get from some of the survivors, they had standing orders to hunt down any blight-infected people and take them out.
Possibly, so the implication being that not only did the Black Eagle Barony expel the afflicted from their borders, but also sent forces out to destroy them once they were out anyway. Or continue chasing them out.
She believes that they escaped more than got expelled. But I'm sure it sounds better for the Baron that he expelled them.
Mm-hmm.
You know how some of these Thiatans are? They seem to like to big note themselves.
Well, certainly, Baron Black Eagle is definitely amongst those that would be aiming to put the most favourable spin on anything that occurred. So.
She did get a report that in the Shadow Dark in the region nearby, there is a castle known as Ravenloft. That seems to be a source of some of the plague, but doesn't seem to be the plague of the Ashen King, but she believes it's the source of the vampire plague.
Well, yes, I've certainly heard rumours and read histories of the Ravenloft. You're suggesting that the legend put it near here?
She has got a report from a Ethengarian by the name of Zal.
Mm-hmm.
Has actually travelled there and has encountered the place. So it does exist, and it is not that far from here. Believed to be connected to Krozegi Keep and Kraktos.
Yes.
So where do you wish to go? Where do you believe you're going to go next, now that you've come and arrived just in time to see the rest of the burning?
Yes, so sure that, well, there's not going to be, like, the only trace of the Ashen King from here was somewhere in the actual city, which is obviously not something to be followed.
Yes, that's a bit beyond her skill set.
Yeah, no, so,
Though if you ask the head of the Magicians Guild, he may know something of that, as he does. He was able to confirm for her that it is connected to Krozegi Keep.
mhm.
You may even know how to unconnect it.
Yeah. There will certainly be some research we can talk to, yes. Possibly, I'm going to decide whether Dimitri's going to try and be deliberately deceptive and not tell Chris actually who he's going to be. By saying that, oh, hey, on the apple pie, it might be worth just saying that there's been rumours of the Dragonborn leaving the Black Swamp. Maybe that's the origination of the plague that came through, and it might be where the Ashen King might reside. And then go back towards Becularum and back towards Verge to pick up some family blood.
Well, she hasn't had anyone to spare to search the Blight Swamp. If that's where you wish to go, she won't object.
I suspect it's an unlikely source of the Ashen King's blood, but maybe if it did start there, that might be one of that might be why the Dragonborn have disappeared from the area if they were the first victims.
Well, they didn't have any come from that direction here. She would have expected if they had a outbreak that they would have come to the closest settlement for aid.
That they might have gone to Fort Doom.
Unlikely, she says. She doubts anyone would willingly go to Fort Doom. But you may be right. That might be where they originated. If you could investigate that, she would definitely be appreciative.
Now, as I said, the primary purpose of us coming this way was to find Ashen King.
So what does your Alvin friends think, she says?
Dimitri's privately thinking,
I'm happy to go along with whatever Dimitri says, but
I was muted. Okay. I'll go along with Dimitri as well.
Dimitri's thinking, well, I've got the well trained. Good to see. Didn't take long to train me for the new position. That's all right.
Well, I'm sure it is going to be definitely worthwhile, she says, looking at Dimitri.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It won't take long to just take a look into the Black Swamp, see if there's any evidence of, unexpected drying or burning. I'm sure we'll find quick evidence as to whether or not there's any evidence of this plague having originated from that area. And as I said, we might find information as to exactly what happened to the Dragonborn in the area.
I'm immune to disease and poison.
A good man to have fighting the plague then.
She says, assuming that also accounts for magical diseases and curses.
It just says immune to disease and poison.
She pats you on the shoulder, saying, "Good luck."
Like I said, like for the same situation as Dimitri was thinking. Yep. Good to have confidence.
She's glad you believe in yourself, she says.
That's right.
She does the whole eyes roll and look up, going, "Elves. Gotta love them."
They're immortal.
Well, I will be.
So then, yeah, that's it. We'll also go back via the specularium and do some more research and finding out that what we could do about Quirky Keep in the nearer future.
Well, if you take too long, she may end up claiming it herself. I'm sure a little friendly rivalry won't go too far, she says.
No further than the borders, obviously.
Well,
where no borders are.
It is technically directly between both of our settlements, she says.
Yeah, no, okay. That's it. We will. Well, I mean, I can we say with absolute authority that we went there this morning and the place appeared completely deserted.
That's right.
Especially if you don't go through the front gates.
And she goes, she loves the term appears. She loves your confidence. She always has, she says.
What's your history with this woman?
Right?
What's your history with this woman?
She answers for him and says, absolutely none, just a friendly rivalry because he set up his kingdom so close, his domain so close to hers. Besides both of us being Traldaran and him being the know-it-all wizard that she's heard of in the courtly topics.
Well, page advisor.
She laughs at that term. Advisor means that you're more likely to be found in court. Showman is closer to the mark as you show up with flashy words and disappear just as quickly.
But the advice is always sage.
All it has to be is cryptic for it to sound sage-like, she says.
I tell exactly what people need to know. Always.
Is it what people need to know, or you want them to know?
Well, no, just listen. I want them to know so much more. Unfortunately, they just never understand. It's why I set up the library in Quest Recon to expand the knowledge and opportunities for all of the populace.
Yeah. Much like she set up a academy to train the women of the nation who seem to have been overlooked in a lot of the martial studies.
Well, it would seem that our two priorities will best together well.
As long as you try not to mansplain to her supporters.
You'll deal with the brawn, I'll deal with the brain.
She wishes you luck with that because she's met many of the brains of Karamikos. There's not much to work with there.
Yeah, so I noticed the big dog. But yes, so the intent will be enjoy the evening of witty banter back and forth, and then head out to the Black Swamp to at least investigate or get confirmation that there's no evidence that the Ashen King expects to be on this side of the river. Like, I'm not interested in going more than a heck deep into the Black Swamp, even barely a heck. So, yeah, we saw it. Yeah, can't get the bird. Yeah, we're good.
It'll take you about a day to reach it properly, unless you summon your own mounts.
Well, as I say, considering the fact we might be trying to actually speed up the time a bit, Dimitri will go for summoning some phantom steeds to make it a quicker trip across to the White Swamp, and then, as I say, head back to Speculum, presumably arriving a few days later. Depending upon whether or not anything actually happened around the White Swamp or there's any other encounters or things that slow us down. So,
well, everyone happy to go to the Blight Swamp with you?
Yes.
Yes.
You do have rumours that it is the home of some dragons.
Bring it on.
I've always wanted to see a dragon.
be aware that rumours can be significantly exaggerated.
Okay,
It's more the idea that possibly the Dragonborn have been there a bit longer than people believe they had been.
So you, how does your phantom steeds look in comparison? As you summon them up in the morning.
Okay. Hey, Dimitri doesn't need to do anything completely or unusually flashy or anything like that. They're simply serviceable steeds that travel about 3 times the speed of a normal horse. In fact, you'll probably create 3 that look virtually identical. Takes less effort to thought process.
Okay, so Drussel's happy to wait for you back in Lund. He doesn't need to travel out there.
Yep.
Really? Okay.
Well, he already knows what's there.
Okay, he knows what's there, and he knows what's not there.
And you spend half a day traveling out to the swamp. Just in time for me to pull something out.
Yeah, as I say, I'm sure there's a nice non-dragon monster or non-dragonborn type monster available to find.
Well, there's always things floating around in the swamps. So,
I think it's a cool dragon. Yeah.
okay. So having to look through the proper list of things will make it easier. Okay, so as you enter the swamp itself, I will give each of you a survival roll to see what you notice.
$22.
16.
Dimitri notices it's damp. I got a lever.
It's made out of floor.
Okay, so out in the swamp, you do notice that there is quite a few glowing lights out there, just floating above the water, leading deeper into the swamp. As you approach, they seem to get further away.
Oh. Don't follow the will-o-wisps. We're not here to get stuck in the swamp. We're just here to look to see if there's any evidence of burning and or blight creature, plague creatures.
Okay, so they could be will-o'-the-wisps.
Mm-hmm.
There could be many other things in the swamp.
Absolutely, there could be many, many things. But hey, Dimitri's declared what they are, so therefore that's what they must be. But as you said, the important part from Dimitri is the fact that yes, they're not actually blight-infected creatures. Unlike, of course, I guess, is it likely or feasible that they're actually the spark type creatures that we saw in Redwood Woods?
They could be related to them. You won't know until you
around them aren't
investigate.
actually burning, are they?
Nothing around them seems to be burning.
Or even trying to smoulder?
Well, hey, it's a swamp, so everything's damp and wet, unlikely to burn as easily.
Yeah, I don't think so. So if it's trying to smoulder, well, that might be different, but... See if you can hit one, Callum.
What is does Trellin choose to accept Dimitri's challenge?
What?
Apparently, he wasn't listening to you.
What? Not listening to Dimitri?
How dare he?
Why would he challenge me?
I said we came across some potential will-o'-the-wisps visible in march ahead of us.
Yeah.
Dimitri said, really saying the fact, well, yeah, they're just will-o'-the-wisps, it's not really an issue, but they could be the black spark type creatures that we saw in that report.
Okay. So what led you to challenge me?
He asked. He challenged you to shoot one.
See if you can hit one.
No. I'll stick to the trail.
No, like shoot one down if you know, like you did with the black sparks.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Apparently, took a lot of convincing.
I'll shoot it.
I mean, if you like, Dimitri will shoot them, but hey, he was giving you a chance.
Okay.
So, do you attack? Are you
Yes. Yes.
There's,
I got 20.
Does Genrick also have a missile weapon roll? If he uses.
I have a dagger. I can throw it.
What the fire damage related?
I'd hang on to the dagger.
What was that, Martin?
What's the fire damage related to?
I do extra fire damage.
Okay.
And
but
ignore
yeah.
resistances.
Cool. But yeah, so I would hang on to the dagger and use it in more closer range.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what damage does your arrow do? What types of damage?
5d8 plus 10 piercing.
Okay, so
Magical?
Yes.
It's
It's
magical, yeah.
double magical. It's Eagle Eye Longbow, plus it's got the quiver of endless arrows.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's 40 piercing damage.
Okay, at 40 piercing damage, you manage to hit one of these balls as it explodes in some sparks.
Does it reappear at my side?
And the sparks of the arrow reappears with you.
Yeah.
As the sparks fall, they seem to form an outline of a black rider and horse.
Ah.
And it seems to be looking directly at you.
Is it too late to have a second attack?
It takes a while for it to form, so yes, it forms after your attack.
Okay.
Unless of course, you can't shoot one of the other will-o-wisps.
Oh, yeah, I'll shoot another one.
Sure.
That was 18.
Okay, so that one flies past it.
Okay.
And this horseman seems to be floating towards you. So I am going to ask you for initiative.
Not initiative.
26. So I have the alert feed.
17. I do not have the alert feed.
H. Demetrius giving you a chance to do something before he finishes it off.
Okay, so looks like Trellin actually gets to act first as you see this black rider looking towards you and moving towards you.
Okay. So I get 22 on the attack roll.
Yep.
And 38 piercing damage. And if it's not dead, I'll hit it again.
Okay, you see your arrow go straight through it. You can attack again.
Okay, so I got a 9, which is 23.
Okay, how much damage did you do?
33.
Okay. Okay, the arrow also passes straight through it.
Whoa.
Okay, so what does Genric do?
How far away is it?
Currently,
Roughly?
it is about 120 feet away.
Well, 120 feet.
Are the other lights doing anything at the moment?
They are still bobbing around.
At about the 120, 150 feet away still?
That is correct.
Yep.
I can back off a little bit because I can walk on water.
Mm-hmm. We know you're partly Jesus.
Yeah.
You have been
I'd like
reborn
to be
after
too.
all.
But of course, obviously your bow's doing nothing to them.
Yeah, but I don't. I prefer for the druid or the mage to drop a whack.
So Genric is what is Genric going to do?
That's an action. I don't want to do that one just yet. I'm going to do a Scorching Ray, which has a range of 120 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 15 to hit.
Okay, so you send out your scorching ray, and it seems to miss it.
Hold on. Wait a minute. No, I get 3 attacks with that one because there's 3 of them.
Yep.
So the first one misses. Second one was a 22.
Okay, how much damage did you do?
I did 6 damage, but I'm going to check the feat that I took and see if that affects it in any way. Where are my feats? It does not affect it. It does ignore resistance, though. If that matters.
It always matters knowing these things.
And then third attack is a 24 to hit. Does 8 damage.
Okay.
Teach my turn.
Okay, so it seems to move from 120 feet to right amongst you in a move.
Oh, yeah.
And each of you gets to make a wisdom saving throw.
I'm good at those. At least I think I
Am
am.
I included?
You are
Yep.
included.
I rolled a 10.
10 total?
10 total.
Oh. Yeah, Leech is on 25.
And how about Trellin?
20.
Okay, so this time I get to look up the what is the effects? Conditions. Okay, so our druid is now frightened.
Oh no.
So you have a disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while you can see this creature.
Best way to deal with your fear is just grab it.
And it targets you with paralyzing terror, so you get to make a another wisdom saving throw, this time with disadvantage.
14.
Okay, so you are now paralyzed.
Yay.
That's okay. At the end of your turns, you can make another saving throw.
I go to one now.
It's not the end of your turn.
Fair enough.
Did his scorching ray appear to affect it at all?
Hard to tell because it is a shadowy form.
Mm-hmm.
And it targets Dimitri with a black ray, and Dimitri gets to make a Constitution saving throw.
21.
21. Okay, so you seem to have resisted it. Then it does ray against Genric, who gets to make a Constitution saving throw with disadvantage.
12.
Apparently, it didn't like that scorching ray coming your way, coming his way.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not concerned about Fallon's bow at all. Even though next one that popped that out. It's maybe next to thankful.
I'll be running in to pump up my Flying Tongue longsword.
Okay, that's probably a good option at the moment. Ow.
Okay, so that is 22 points of necrotic damage. And your hit point maximum have been reduced by 22.
Ouch.
I wouldn't get hit by that again if you avoid it.
You also gain 1 level of strife.
Oh no.
Okay, at 1 level of strife, you have disadvantage on intelligent, wisdom, and charisma checks.
You had include saving those?
No, that's just actually technically yes, because they're in check.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't certain whether level up lines of a separate roles.
So if it's an attack, a skill, it may just be skills.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'll read up on that later. Okay, so it is now Dimitri's turn.
So it's technically within melee range at the moment, is it? Or
It is within melee range of you, but you can see through it.
mm-hmm. Well, let's go with a dexterity saving throw for each.
What is the what spell are you throwing?
We're going with a sacred flame cantrip.
Mm-hmm.
So who are uh, if he's too close to actually viewing it without risk, then you can use a bonus action disengage, or then move back to a safer distance.
Well, you do know that most things cannot attack you even in that distance.
Yeah.
You got to have Mage Slayer to be able to attack someone who casts a spell.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so it was a charisma saving throw.
Dexterity saving throw.
Dexterity saving throw. He got an 8.
An 8 is not quite enough, I don't think.
And as you hit him, he seems to manifest. As you see it seems to be a black horse with red eyes with a black robe figure holding a great sword.
Normally, so radiant holy flame dealing 1d8 radiant damage. Does that actually allow Dimitri to add his fire element aspect bonus?
It does.
It does? Cool. So that means we're talking 15 points of radiant damage.
Okay, so yes, you do see the strike hit. You would have expected any other attack to literally go through it, even if it harmed it, because it was incorporeal at the time. And your radiant damage shunted it back into reality.
That was the point of doing his a sacred flame as opposed to a fireball.
Okay, so that brings us to Trellin.
So is the horseless rider or the horse mounted in still physical?
The horse itself is physical, as is the rider.
Okay.
I've made it manifest for you, so now you can actually do something.
Okay. I got a 28 because I used the flame tongue longsword, but I also added 3 to the bonus. +3. And
a 28, it does hit.
And 47 damage.
Okay.
How much of that is fire?
It's only 7 damage of fire.
Yep.
But it's all magical.
Yeah, okay. It may be important to note the fact that actually 40 magical slashing and 7 fire.
Yeah. But hopefully we will keep it on its toes.
Hopefully it'll slash it in half.
Because it's fire.
Okay, so Genric gets to make his petrification saving throw, which is a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
Hang on, does Colin only get 1 attack with his longsword?
Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you. Oh, but it's only a 16.
Okay, your 16 actually misses.
There you go.
Okay.
So then we move on to Genric's wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
Well, it's not nearly so scary now that it's real.
Yeah, as long as we keep hitting it, it's fine.
I got a 12.
Okay, apparently you're still fearful of it. And there's another
But
round until
not paralysed. Not petrified.
still paralyzed.
Yeah.
He's still paralyzed until another 9 rounds pass, unless he makes the saving throw.
Yes.
Okay, so apparently has no target for its paralyzing terror this round. Because if he had made the saving throw, he would have then tried to paralyze him again.
Right.
You can only paralyze people who are frightened by it.
And let's face it, he's only paralysed when it's actual level we don't know it's real.
Okay, he does another life drain effect on Genric, which means he gets to make a Constitution saving throw with disadvantage.
Yes.
He really didn't like that scorching way you throw it.
I don't think I should roll the second one because the first one I rolled was a 1.
Okay, so that's
Worse than that.
okay. So that's going to be an interesting result there.
Or painful.
So that makes it 28, which will be doubled this time because of your 1. So that makes it 54. So you take 54 damage and your maximum hit points reduced by 54.
It's a good thing you started at maximum hit point for this battle. The reduction of it when you take it would be pretty painful.
You also get Strive 2, and at Strive 2 you have disadvantage on concentration checks.
Oh no.
So you are lucky that he's not concentrating all his attacks on you. He throws a ray at Dimitri, so Dimitri gets to make a Constitution saving throw.
It seems very magically focused.
Don't worry, it's going to have a physical attack against you in a moment because it was manifested.
Right.
21.
Again.
21, okay, so nothing happens. And he swings his greatsword at Trellin. And he hits him.
21.
And because of your high armor class, he just misses as you feel it. The blade of it just graze you.
Right.
And your hair just wither away at its closeness.
Right. Yeah. It might even make it blondish.
Basically, you definitely don't want to be hit by the weapon.
Okay.
His weapon is actually his worst attack, and he can only do that while manifested.
Right.
Which he wasn't going to use until someone dropped him in there.
You sure that weapons is my devastating attack? My health points are not looking very good right now.
But let's face it, also the idea that your most devastating attack was not effective until it was manifested. So
I know it's half a bit, half of the other. So that brings us to Dimitri to save the day.
So did Trellin slash appear to do decent damage to it?
Just the one. 37 damage.
You can't see any physical damage on it, but then considering it is some sort of spiritual creature, that's not surprising.
Yeah.
So it's your hit.
I'm sure Trellin's got it under control if I just make certain it stays in the real world. So we'll just go with another Sacred Flame. So it's very safe for it.
I did do flame 7 points.
It rolled a 21.
21 will save. And so therefore the Sacred Flame misses.
It uses its blade to deflect.
But I did do 7 points of damage. Just highlighting.
But the particular difficulty is that the Sacred Flame is radiant damage as opposed to just fire damage.
Right.
Like radiant holy type damage against the undead.
Gotcha.
And then it is Trellan's go.
If he remain manifested,
He does remain manifested.
at least until it's good.
All right. So that's a 29.
That becomes a hit.
Um, 43 damage.
Okay, as you hit it, you can see the face of the creature for a brief moment. Looks like Dimitri's face before it screams and just seems to collapse in upon itself in an instant.
Okay. So I don't have. So I've got a spare attack, but I don't actually have a spare radiant damage with which to trigger its corporealness.
No, I think the intent is the idea is that it was corporeal when you slashed it in half, and it basically went to mist.
So let's do it. Let's just see if it. So it's 27.
You feel really good with the swing. Yeah, it's a perfectly balanced swing.
And so it's 8 for the fire damage, and 18 for the other damage. So 26.
Unfortunately, you don't feel as if you hit anything.
All right.
But you do suspect that you had destroyed the Wraith Lord with your first strike.
Yeah.
Okay.
The real question is,
I just want that scorching rays and that sort of thing, or ray or vapor plane.
Yeah. But the real question, of course, is: are the other Will-O-Wisps doing anything?
They all winked out when the Wraith Lord
They all
died.
disappeared at the same time. Happy with that.
Though I'm sure it was a bit disconcerting for Dimitri to see a face similar to his on the Wraith Lord.
Well, hey, he'd seen all the paintings of him earlier this morning, so
maybe it was one of his relatives, ancestors.
Unfortunately, he didn't leave any blood behind, did he?
He did not.
So I can't use it as the escape route from the dark side.
Though you may have sent him back to the dark phase, so he may meet you again.
Oh, that's right then. But it means I've still got to go back home.
It does.
Prefer to face another Wraith Lord.
You see, on the edges of the swamp, there are no signs of any campsites or civilization except for the lights that winked out.
Okay. And no indication of any burnings or anything like that, or other indications of the light being in this area?
None.
So I've got a 40-foot radius and a dim light for an additional 40 feet. Is there anything showing?
You can see the swamp, the trees, clumps of bushes, but no creatures moving within that range.
Okay. Be nice to finish off. Well, I've only got a minute with for the +3, but I do have.
I mean, she's telling you, no, it's all good. The creature's gone. It's dead. You've bested it.
But wasn't there an issue with 2 of them?
I don't know.
Or
There was
imagine-
a series of apparent will-o-wisps ahead of us, i.e. floating blobs of light in the distance.
Okay.
which Dimitri was happy to have left alone as Will o' the Wisp, but then realised that, they could be, highly unlikely, they could be the fire striking things that we met originally, like the whole swarm of them.
Yeah.
So then when you hit one, it turned out that they were all just like effectively decoys that the Wraith Lord had put up.
Gotcha.
And so then when you actually hit one, the Wraith Lord appeared, effectively the others were probably floating around until the death of the Wraith Lord, in which case all his decoys winked out.
And by the time of that discussion finishing, generic paralysis wears off.
How do you get the life drain back?
Well, healing doesn't work on that.
Okay, he could do it. He could heal, can't he?
I don't have Greater Restoration prepared, which is the spell you use to bring it back.
Okay.
So when
But
something
you
reduces
can get it
your...
in 8 hours.
Yeah, but no, I do have it prepared. I'm just blind.
No, it's all about you.
It was that paralysis thing that did it for you. It locked your eyes in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You couldn't see your spell list.
Yeah. Well, I will do Creator Restoration on myself.
Does it restore all your lost hit points? Or your lost hit point reduction?
The wording of it, well, the one that matters is one effect reducing the target's hit point maximum.
Okay, in which case you get back 76 points of your hit point maximum.
Woohoo!
Which I think is all of the hit points I was missing.
You don't actually get the hit points back, you just get the hit point maximum back.
Yeah.
So you can now be healed for the actual damage you've taken.
Well, the next question is, can you heal yourself?
I can heal myself.
Nice.
When
But particularly, okay, with your Greater Restoration, it means you've still got the 2 levels of strife at the moment.
yeah.
And what does that mean? The strife.
Strife is and fatigue both replace the exhaustion of the standard book.
Okay.
So both
I-
of
I
those.
think
I haven't made myself familiar with that, so yeah.
Yeah. So basically, in level up, you've got fatigue, which is physical exhaustion type effects, and strife, which is more the mental life well-being equivalent of fatigue. So it's the sort of thing that you can you get it back with rest or things like that, and
Long rest reduces the strife by 1,
as long as you're in a safe haven when you do it.
provided that you also have enough supply to get you by.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does not require a haven to recover from the first level of fatigue or strife, but does still require a long rest.
Yeah.
But
So keep
because
on
it's the
similar
second,
stuff.
because it's the second level, he needs a haven to do so. So until he reaches Luan, you can't actually reduce the first level of strife.
And what would your normal haven be?
Any town or place where you're not at threat is considered a haven.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be one specific to the character. It's just a place where you're not at threat.
Right. So in the middle of a swamp would not be a haven.
It would not. Neither would anywhere within the Black Eagle Barony would not be considered a haven either.
Really? Gee.
Because it's considered effectively anti-terrain. So,
Okay.
but what we'll do is it's approaching past up. I've got to the swamp, wasn't it?
It was actually midday when you got to the swamp on your steeds.
but
Oh, yeah,
the wraith was protected by the swamp
and was not actually in direct sunlight.
yeah. Well, I guess it's also the fact, yes, we spent at least a couple of hours saying, yep, there's no blackie yet before we were actually ready to come back anyway, so that's all right. But that means we've got a few hours of light, so what we'll do, we'll actually... Sorry?
Can Jeremy cast the thing that takes you up into a world, an out of character kind of world? I don't remember the name.
You think you're right?
Something like that, and that provides that provides a haven.
It does, as long as you don't want to take your artifacts or extra dimensional spaces with you.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we hang them like a foot down?
Technically, but it's not really then a haven if you're trying to watch them.
Well, I don't need either of them, but I'm assuming that Jeremy and Gravlik, or I don't remember his name. Genric, would need to go up there, but I can hold on to your items, and then once you've cast your spells, then you can come back down.
Though they would be worried about what the Ashen King is doing in the Astral Sea at this stage, because you are not 100% safe when there are astral creatures in the area.
Okay, sorry. All right, I tried.
No, yeah, absolutely. And it's the sort of thing that technically Dimitri would actually provide a safe haven with not really any problem. Because you can you can do a ritual tiny hut to actually get a safe haven for the night. But we're not that far from Lawn. We can go back. It's the tiny hut will cost you like $200.
Well, yeah, the Greater Restoration costs at least $100.
Yeah, well, that was his money though.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is money I definitely have.
Certainly not like Dimitri doesn't have $200 either. But it's we'll be back at Lowell in no time. It'll be fine.
I mean, I can. I don't have the money for it, but if I do Greater Restoration again, I can reduce exhaustion by 1 level.
Or the strife, you can also do it on that one too. So,
Assuming that.
Yeah, there's a whole list of things.
Strife most before it works the same way as exhaustion.
It does remove 1 level of strife or a level of fatigue.
One of the following effects on the target. So there's a whole list of things that you need to map out, and it might take
Technically, 3 casting of Greater Restoration will get you back to your fire to health. But hey, a good night's rest back in a nice bed will do you wonders.
Yeah, but if I go down a level of strife, I don't need the haven to get rid of the last level, right?
That's right.
Okay.
But hey, I mean, the effect of your strife at the moment, it's just a disadvantage occasionally. On your intelligence, wisdom, charisma, and concentration checks, you'll be fine.
I don't need those.
That's right.
And if only you could have cast Lesser Restoration on yourself, you could have removed the paralysis.
The paralysis wasn't much of the issue.
Dimitri might have got around to that. I don't know whether he actually could or not, but it implies that he might have got around to it.
Okay, so I'm gonna say you guys finish the session heading to Luan,
Yep.
mainly because you are this close to Fort Doom and the Black Eagle Barony that you particularly wouldn't want to set up shop outside of a safe place anyway.
No, that's not that. And extra. Demetrius will conjure up your phantom steed for you, so you can travel quick.
And you don't have to worry about guiding it because it will traverse most ground without difficulty.
Okay. But yeah, so we will head back toward Lawn and inform Tersasia that the blight definitely didn't appear to be coming from the blight swamp.
I was going to say next session we can deal with what happens in Lund because there'll be other stuff happening there too.
All good then? Okay.
As we are 11:45.
I'm happy with that, yep.
It is my nap time.
Okay, so I'm going to put it on end credits and then I'll chat to you afterwards.
Cool.
I'll be going to bed.
I didn't.
Okay, be back in a sec.